If your child is going to be taking a test to get into a gifted program or a GATE program, there are so many different types of tests that they may be given. I mean, hundreds of different tests. So you might be wondering, well, what are these questions like that my child is going to see on a gifted test? And I'm going to show you what they're like. And the thing is, the questions on gifted tests are very different from the kinds of things kids see in school. And usually their first reaction to these questions is that they are weird. They're very weird, and kids don't quite know how to approach them just because it's not like a math question or a spelling test question. It's usually some kind of puzzle or some question that's really going to make them think. So I want to show you what these questions are like. And if your child is taking a gifted test, check with testing mom. If you know the name of the test, we have practice for it. I'm pretty sure we have practice for almost all the gifted tests that are out there in the universe. So we can guide you as to what kind of practice questions to do for that particular test. And check out our 100 free practice questions, as well as you'll see way more questions than I'm going to be able to show you right now. So you can see what they're like, what the questions your child will see when they actually are tested. So let's get started. This is very high tech. I'm using paper, and because it's really easy for me to demonstrate when I have paper. But here's an example of a cognitive type question that a child may see on a test. And all it is a design that has a piece cut out. And the child has to look at all the possible answers and say what piece down here belongs here to complete the pattern. And here is the piece that we are missing. Here's another example of a different type of question that they might see when they're tested. This is a square, and it's got a little piece that's been cut out, and it's folded out, and then we fold it in. And this down here, same thing. There's some pieces that have been folded out, and if we fold it in, what is it going to look like? And they have to look at all the possible answers down here, and here's our answer right here. Here is another type of question that a child is going to see on a gifted test. This is called a serial reasoning type question. And what we have is we have rows and columns. And in each row and column, we have a design, 3 different designs, 3 different colors. So every row and column has a different design and a different color. And so I know down here, I need to figure out what goes here to complete the pattern in the 9-box matrix, and it needs to be red. I can see that right away. And which shape am I missing? Well, I'm missing the heart. So that goes right here, and that completes the pattern. Here is another example. This is an example of a piece, a square that it has its 2 colors divided in half, and it looks like it's being rotated in such a way it's rotating this way, and so when we take it and we rotate it, look, counterclockwise right here, it's going to look like this in the 3rd space. Actually, we're going clockwise. I get this mixed up myself. So actually, it's going clockwise. It's going this way, right? So if we take this and it's going to look like this if we rotate it in a clockwise way, and we rotate on the bottom in a clockwise way, same thing. What is it going to look like right here? It's going to look like this right down here. I get really confused by these, and that's why practice is very, very helpful. Now let me show you a different type of question they might see. This is a serial type question, which is just what's happening across the boxes, and we want to continue that in the last box. So here it looks like it's a clock, and it looks like it's moving forward by 2 hours with each in each box. So if this moves forward by 2 hours, it's going to be 11 o'clock, and that's our answer. And finally, I'm going to show you, this is one that is very common on gifted tests. It's what doesn't belong. Sometimes you'll see it with shapes and figures, and in this case, we're looking at it with actual pictures. This can be a little tricky In this particular one, the answer is four of them have stripes, one of them has polka dots. And it's the polka dot picture, the picture of the present, that doesn't belong. But it's a little hard because if you look at it, a child might think, oh, well, there's only one child, so that doesn't belong. But then you have to think, well, yeah, but there's only one animal, so there's only one piece of clothing, and there's only one insect. So that's not what we're looking for here as to, which one doesn't belong. So it does take some thinking to figure out what doesn't belong in this. But in this one, it's just everything has stripes except for the gift, and that's got polka dots. So that gives you some examples of the types of questions on cognitive tests that are given for kids who are trying to get into gifted programs. If your child is going to be taking one of these types of tests, check with us at Testing Mom. We have lots and lots of practice, thousands and thousands of practice questions, and we can guide you depending on what test your child is taking. We will guide you to the questions that you need to be practicing with your child.